Modern life operates without a natural stopping point. We finish our workday only to transition immediately into a state of continuous, fractured digital connectivity. We scroll, reply, and consume media without any built-in cues telling our brains that the day has concluded. In a 1990s Indian middle-class household, the evening operated on a rigid daily ritual. From the moment you walked through the door to the time the lights went out, the environment followed a pattern that enforced decompression. The children of that era were physically grounded by their accessories. They carried heavy textbooks, brightly colored plastic water bottles slung over their shoulders, and metal tiffin boxes that required a physical process of unpacking at the end of every school day. These rigid 90s evenings functioned as psychological airlocks. Moving through each step of the routine systematically stripped away the friction and sensory stress accumulated throughout the day. The outside world of the 1990s was physically demanding. Streets were thick with the texture of dense, hand-painted signs, tangled overhead wires, and the constant high-frequency hum of scooters and auto rickshaws. Arriving home required a specific physical sequence, kicking off dusty shoes at the threshold, dropping the heavy school bag, and splashing cold tap water over the face and hands. This unvarying sequence signals a transition. The brain interprets the sudden release of physical weight and the cooling sensation of water as a biological all clear, initiating the shift from the high alert state of the public world to domestic calm. This arrival routine drew a definitive boundary line. Once crossed, the external demands of school and the noise of the street were locked outside. You were now safely inside the home. At the center of this safety was the kitchen. The organized setup of metal pots, ceramic cups, and wooden shelves provided immediate visual comfort. The acoustic anchor of this space is the pressure cooker. It acts as a metronome for the household. The rhythmic hissing, followed by a sharp whistle and a plume of steam, provides a predictable auditory cue that the day's tasks are nearing completion. This diagram illustrates how the brain responds to sound. We transition from the chaotic, jagged spikes of street noise into the smooth, rhythmic, repeating sine waves of the kitchen. These specific, gentle frequencies trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, the biological mechanism responsible for rest. You hear it again when snacks are served. The stainless steel follies and small katoris possess a distinct acoustic signature. When they clink together, the sound is sharp but entirely familiar, signaling that nourishment is imminent. The smell of roasted peanuts, the metronomic whistle of the cooker, and the clink of steel plates overlap every afternoon. These repeating sensory inputs anchor a child in a state of absolute security. After snacks, the house shifts into study time. The atmosphere is defined by the continuous, low-frequency hum of a heavy metal ceiling fan, creating a consistent white noise that blocks out the lingering sounds of the street. Leisure time was a shared event. Because media was restricted to a single CRT television set, the family maintained a collective, unbroken gaze. You watched the same program, absorbed the same information, and shared the same reality. This synchronized attention built a communal bond. In contrast, modern digital consumption is fragmented and individualized, making it difficult to find that same sense of shared belonging within the home. The longing for these 90s evenings reveals a modern deficit in psychological architecture. We are mourning the loss of a built-in rhythm that once managed our mental transitions for us. Our current era lacks these natural stopping cues. Without a shared television schedule or an evening whistle to signal the end of the day, we must now manually enforce the boundaries that used to happen by default. We can recreate this decompression by building new physical boundaries, separating work areas from rest areas, silencing digital interruptions, and embracing the slow, predictable sounds of manual tasks like cooking or organizing. True peace is found through intentional design. By recreating predictable, analog rhythms, we can reclaim the quiet sanctuary of the evening and drown out the digital noise.